bevo.com.
We'll be pleased to know, Tim, that when we actually bought your book, Swimming Against the Stream, we bought it in Waterstones. So they're obviously, and they were well stocked, so they're still obviously looking after you. It was a great name of a book, Swimming Against the Stream, but what was the message or the meaning behind calling it that?
I do quite a lot of lecturing around the place on entrepreneurial mindset and entrepreneurial techniques and things I very much enjoy doing. And one of the things that always strikes me is that I try to stop people from being entrepreneurs. I don't encourage them to be it, because I think unless you've got a certain mindset, it's a recipe for absolute complete disaster. And I think almost everybody shouldn't try it. I mean, you've got to have certain characteristics, one of which is an absolutely insane ability to deal with financial stress, which is a sort of imbalance in your personality, an ability to deal with financial stress and keep within it. Secondly, an acutely clear business plan concept. I mean, you've got to be absolutely, totally clear in what you're doing. And thirdly, you've got to have a taste for battle. You've got to have a taste for looking at the received wisdom in whatever industry you're in and challenging the received wisdom. Now, who are the great entrepreneurs? I mean, Branson's been doing that all his life, and Branson goes in the aircraft industry, he always sees a different way of doing it. He goes into the music industry, he sees a different way of doing it. But the phrase actually was not mine, the phrase is actually Sam Walton's, who was the founder of Walmart. And, Walmart is now what it is, but Walmart at the time when Sam Walton founded it was an absolutely brilliant entrepreneurial concept. One store, in Arkansas with this brilliant idea of merchandising and pricing, and the phrase was his. And Sam Walton's edict was that nobody's an entrepreneur unless they always want to swim against the stream rather than with the stream. And I think it's an interesting concept.
It's interesting, Tim, because you talk about, in terms of successful entrepreneurs and their key characteristics, you mentioned the ability to shrug off a whole series of apparently terminal setbacks as one. Can you elaborate on that and perhaps share one or two others?
Well, there are several points I've mentioned: ability to cope with financial stress. I mean, the other aspects are you've got to have a real degree of ruthlessness behind you, and it's an unpleasant. It's not necessarily nice characteristics. I don't mean ruthlessness in the way of ruthlessness in the sense that your concept is going to win, your dream, your vision is going to win. I've got an absolute, complete ruthlessness in driving that through. Charles Dunstan actually is a fantastic example of that, I think. Charles Dunstan always says that Carphone Warehouse is at its happiest when we have an enemy, and I know exactly what he means. Maybe me with W. Smith with that. The whole team that gets on aims at this, and they drive down who it is trying to hold up the wonderful sort of global process of Carphone Warehouse. There's that. There's ruthlessness. I think the other thing which is absolutely essential is two other things: acute simplicity of vision. Your vision has got to be very, very clear. And your articulation of the vision has got to be extremely clear to your staff and to the public. I mean, don't waste your time writing business plans. It's got to be so clear what you're trying to do that everybody understands it. Secret incidentally of great politicians, they have a very simple tune to whistle, which is Enoch Powell's phrase. And it's got to be simple and clear. And the final thing is you've got to be able to inspire loyalty, and you have to be able to inspire loyalty. And I don't know how that is, you either have that ability or you don't. It's something about, I don't know, it's the way you behave with people. But I just don't know a single successful entrepreneur, including Alan Sugar, who makes, Alan Sugar's persona on the television screen is very different to the real Alan Sugar, who certainly can be foul-mouthed, who certainly can be pretty brutal, but does encourage astonishing loyalty in his staff. So, it's all these things together.
When you talk about ruthlessness in your book, are you talking about sort of the Sun Tzu art of war approach and the Machiavellian approach, or are you just talking about having a really crystal clear vision and getting the team just to go straight forward for the target?
I think it's clarity of vision. Clarity of vision gets through to everybody. It gets through to your staff, it gets through to the public, it gets through to your bankers, there's a sense of absolute simple clarity of what you're trying to do and why you're trying to do it and why it'll win. You just win every argument, and it goes with other things too, as I was mentioning earlier. And I think ability, which I think is made too little of, and I think or technique as much as anything else, which I think is vital, is openness. And I can't stress that too clearly. I think that you've got to be completely open with everything you tell everybody, your staff, your shareholders. When you start to hide truth, when you start to try and conceal things, it always ends in disaster. Just be open.
bevo.com.